Three, two, one, and we're live. Good evening. It's Jay, Brandon, and we're joined by Vegas Vamp.
Hello.
Tonight we're going to be discussing Vegas Vamp is a demonologist, and it's our first one of the show, so it should be pretty good. Question for you. Okay, Vegas Vamp, can you give us a little background about yourself?
Oh, I was raised in a Pentecostal home, very, very strict Southern Pentecostal. We would go to the Crusades. We would go to different places, and I learned how to basically do the exorcisms on houses and people. Started out when I was 5 years old, and I did my first house cleansing on my 15th birthday. And I've been doing exorcisms and the demonology stuff, everything, every aspect of it ever since then. And I'm 35 years old, so that kind of give you a little bit. I've been doing this kind of stuff for 30 years.
Oh, wow. So you said you started off at the age of 5. How did that work out?
Well, my mom and my aunt, ever since I was little, they always taught me, right from wrong when it comes to the spirituality things. And when I started doing stuff like that, it was scary at first, but then it just started to kind of magnetize to me, I guess you could say. And I started getting more and more people that needed help. And my mom always told me to not be scared of the demons or anything like that. But ever since then, like when I started going to college is when I really started getting into the witchcraft and the ceremonial magic. And now I'm a ceremonial magician. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. And it kind of, I don't want to say like a domino effect, but it's more like it kind of all just kind of came to me at the right time. So I'm really grateful for the things that my mom and my aunt taught me ever since I was young. And it kind of helped me on my path.
That's awesome. How old were you when you first did your first exorcism?
My first on a person or on a structure?
On either. You can talk to both.
The first exorcism, my first exorcism on a structure, I was 15, and on a person, I was 16.
And how was those experiences? Like, how had they molded you what you do now? What have you learned? Like, contrast or put more towards,
Well, I learned everything like the right way, in the wrong way to do things, what to stay away from and how to do it so things don't come back. Because if you do it and it's wrong, that if you do it the wrong way, you have to study it. Like different tools that you use, Ouija boards, tarot cards, things like that. Sorry, that's my cat. If you start doing stuff like that without kind of having a background, then you can end up inviting things in that you don't want around you. So you have to be careful with that. I've learned ever since I was a child to just kind of grasp onto it and just to not be scared of anything. Because if you have fear, every single negative word is a demonic. Fear, anxiety, stress, everything like that. I was taught that at a very young age. Like I said, I was raised in a Pentecostal church. For everyone that's coming now that didn't hear the intro, we're the kind of people that dance with snakes. We have big faith crusades and things like that. And I was taught to have an open mind and to not be scared of anything and just kind of learn from myself, and ask for advice for people that are higher up, that have been doing it for longer than I have. But I'm grateful for that, for the very beginning and for everything that I've learned ever since.
I got one question for you, or I got numerous questions for you, but one for right now. Now, during an exorcism, can a demon regain its strength while you're doing the exorcism?
Yes,
like
they
draw
can.
it off like somebody's having like doubt in it or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely can. Like I said, don't be scared of anything. You have power over anything. You have power over demons. You have power over angels. You have power over anything that you set your mind to. Especially if you're doing an exorcism on a person. If there's anyone in the room that actually has fear, or if they're scared of it, or if they become affected by it, they feed off that energy. So you have to be careful what you do and what you say and who's in the room with you. And you have to make sure every demon has a name. And if you can get the name off of them somehow, then you can defeat them.
Right on, right on. Now, what is your thoughts on Ouija boards?
Well, I have 10.
Oh, wow.
From all over the place. Yeah, that's right, Christina. You need to have a spiritual foundation. Yeah, that's true. You have to be based on it. You have to build up on it. But Ouija boards, see, humans have more power over demons. Yeah, that's very true. I think that, like I said, there's so many different tools. I have over 12 tarot decks. I have oracle cards. I have different herbs, and I have graveyard dirt and things like that. I've dabbled in everything, and everything is a tool. Pendulums, things like that. Palmistry, palm reading, all the other stuff. When I was younger, that was frowned upon because, like I said, I was raised in a Pentecostal church. But as I got older, I realized that the things that are out there for us to use are all tools, and you have to learn how to use a tool. Just like if you're learning how to use a jigsaw, you have to be taught a specific way how to use it, and to be safe when you're using it, and to not let it affect you to the point where you become obsessed. Because when you start to become obsessed with these things, you're actually inviting more in that you shouldn't actually invite into your life. And you have to be strong and be able to control these tools. Everybody's trained in my church. Everybody's trained to use these tools the right, proper way. So if kids go out into a cemetery and they have a Ouija board and they're playing with it and they don't understand what it is, then they can actually invite things in that shouldn't be on them. So you have to be careful with them. Yeah, very true, Christina. I agree with you 100%.
Can you see the comments on the side too?
Yeah, that they keep popping up on the front.
Okay, I'm just making sure you saw too. I mean, that's
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, what you call it for the Ouija boards? Like, probably about 2 years ago, Brandon, I did that experiment with the Ouija board. That's the reason why I got one, because when me and my old teammate, we did this, we wanted to see if it actually worked or not, like that, because I don't really mess with Ouija boards. I don't dabble in evil stuff.
We don't either.
So what we ended up doing was we had ourselves blindfolded, and we had another member record us and see what the answers were. And it was actually fairly accurate, because we did go to a very evil site. It was a site of a double murder and suicide. And like we had a lot of activity there before and stuff like that. But we never touched it since. It's somewhere in my cluster of boxes I have right now.
I want it.
But no, I don't. I really don't mess with them at all. And like no interest in messing with them at all. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, as Carrie says, that she has 6 pendulum tarot cards, runes, but she cleanses a lot. It's good to cleanse things. I have a cleansing kit that I take with me everywhere. White sage, blue sage, moon water. Like I said, I've actually come to the point where I accept the fact that I am a witch and I was raised by witches, and so I know how to cleanse crystals and all that stuff. But I think it's good if you try to do things like that. Make sure that you have someone in the room with you that's a professional, that actually has been trained in that field in some form, somebody that's used to it, and then they're ready to help you if you get into a situation you don't want to be in, because it's easy to be led into that kind of stuff, and you have to be very careful with how much you do that. That's very brave of you to be blindfolded.
No, I was like, we wanted to do a social experiment, and if we weren't blindfolded or anything like that, people that watch the video would be like, oh, they're just moving it by themselves and doing what answers they want, So we wanted to see if it actually worked, and we used fingers and everything like that, and made sure everybody saw that we were totally blind on it.
Right. I actually did one for a friend of ours that was murdered last May. We actually did an experiment to see if he would actually be able to talk to us through a board. And we actually had a 2-hour session, and I actually posted on my YouTube channel. I'll send it to you so you can take a look at it. But we had a conversation with him, and he actually told us who killed him.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's wild. Now, and forgive me, can you tell if somebody has a negative entity attached to them or anything like that? Or
yes, I can. I can actually see them.
Oh, really? No. When you see a good person, do they like have white eyes, and then like bad people have black eyes, type of stuff, or is it just you just can sense it?
I can see entities that are attached to people. I was trained to do that, but I actually have a when you accept a certain religion or you start studying a certain religion, that's something that my mom has always said that you have to be able to understand it, and those religions, certain ones can be blocked if you accept. I don't have anything against any religion. I dabble in certain ones. I've been part of Buddhism. I've been a Taoist. I've been a Baptist, a Catholic, a Satanist, a Luciferian, a Rosicrucian. I've studied all the different religions. But if you accept that you are a Pentecostal or somebody else that is able to speak in tongues, it's the same kind of thing. Then you're given certain gifts and you're given certain things that you can do. Now, me being raised Pentecostal, I was taught how to speak in tongues. I was taught how to visualize and see entities and things like that. So I have over 30 years experience in that. First time I astral projected, I was 4 years old,
Oh,
and so
really?
yeah, because I was actually born. I was born dead, and they actually had to resuscitate me. I was blue, and they thought I was going to die. And so, like they say that people that are that close to the veil and people that have NDEs, they're able to see more than people that have not experienced that.
Oh, really? Did
Yeah.
you see Christine's what she was talking about? She used a Ouija board that just wants a very tall black materialized.
Hmm. Yeah.
Very fun to myself.
I've seen
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
what do you recommend if somebody has like they think they have some negative energy? Do you suggest that they sage their house? Do they have it blessed? What do you think they should do?
They can do whatever they feel is right. Usually, you get led to the right place, depending on your religion, because certain religions don't believe in saging. Some don't believe in holy water, things like that. Some believe in putting black salt around the windows, and it depends on what they feel is right to them. Usually, like I said, you get led to what you're supposed to do. It makes itself known to you, and you're able to actually see it without even thinking about what you should do. Some people, they are offended when I say let's sage your house, because they don't believe in that kind of stuff. But if I
Right.
say something like, do you want me to bring a priest with you, because I'm actually an ordained minister as well, so I'm able to do different things in the Catholic Church.
All right, and I'm gonna put this one on the screen.
Yeah,
JB.
I'm reading it now. Yeah, you can learn as many things as you want. There's no limit to how much you can do, especially when it comes to religion or rituals or ceremonies or things like that. You can do whatever you feel is right. Um, I do rituals involving many different types of religions for myself. It's whatever you feel like. Practice different things and see what works best for you. There's no limit to how much you can do with your religion or with your rituals or anything like that. Just keep going. It doesn't matter if people, like you said, she's gotten hate over it. Don't pay attention to the negative. Keep going forward, and don't let what anybody says stop you from practicing the way that you want to practice. There's nothing wrong with mixing it. I do the same thing.
Right, right on. Now, do you have you had any bad experiences with like demons?
Yeah, actually, my husband and I traveled the country for 4 years, like all over the place. Like I'm right now, I'm up by near the lakes up in northern Ohio right now. But we went all the way out to California and back. You're welcome, Carrie. I just seen her message. She thanked me.
Mhm.
But we went all over the country, and we were working at the California Mid-State Fair, and that's Paso Robles, California, is near Mexico. And my husband actually got a sludge attached to him. Sludge is a lesser negative entity. It's not a demon, but it's something that's kind of, it attaches itself to you and actually can change you, and actually can make your eyes black. We were walking home from work one night. We were working the Cali Midstate, and his eyes were completely pitch black. And that was like the only time that I ever had to pull something like that out of somebody that I knew.
That's awesome. That's pretty wild experience. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly. Now, I've had gone to occult places and stuff like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
Have you ever gone to any of those places?
Oh
To
yeah.
what have you learned, and what has been your experience from those type of places?
I pretty much pick up on everything that I like. It's weird. Things like that magnetize to me. I've gotten a lot of different things from different places, and everything has a meaning to me in some form. I add to my books. I have just a bunch of things like this that I keep a bunch of things in, traveling and pieces of things that I've picked up along the way, and I think the occult places are probably one of the highest energy that I could possibly see. I think that they're pretty cool, but you have to exactly know what you're doing. Just like when you're using tools, you have to have kind of like a knowledge of it first before you get involved in it. But it's good if you feel like you're ready to. Don't just jump into it because it can really affect you in a negative way.
Right on. Right. Now we've had like I went to one place. Was it last year, or the year before, Brandon? Oh, wait till he gets some. Was it last year, or
The
the year before that we
the
went to that place in Lexington?
hey, that was
Oh, anyways, this was a while ago.
November, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was a place that used to do satanic rituals. It was an occult type of thing. They had
Right.
symbols all over. Um, right when you got out, when you get into the place, you could hear like children's chanting. And it was it was pretty wild. Then we went up to
It was a wild experience for all of us.
like there was
Yeah.
glowing red eyes. I think I got that on pictures. I'm pretty sure I
You
do.
you and Roger got something
Yeah,
hanging on your
and then, we
SLS.
got something saying something, some sort of chant or something like that. We couldn't really make it out. I recorded and stuff like that. It was pretty wild. Did you read Christina's?
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. I actually have a story to tell you guys. And Christina, please listen to what I'm saying. This is very important. Um, you said that happened to you when you were 2 years old. That happened to me when I was 3. It was right after my dad passed away, and we were actually going to stay with my grandmother up in Erie, and Erie, Pennsylvania, over here, up near the lakes. And like I said, I was 3 years old, and I was walking down a hillside, and I slipped and I fell face first into a pond, and I actually was able to. I was looking down like from the sky onto myself laying in the pond, and I remember my mom and my grandma getting out of the car, and I remember seeing them running over to me like from above, and they ran over and pulled me out of the water. And I've been through a lot of stuff like that. That was my second near death experience.
Oh, really? Wow, that's crazy. Oh, hi, Stacy. It's all good. Now, what you call it? Now, what do you prefer doing? Do you prefer the blessing, like when you perform an exorcism? Like, how does that all work? Like, do you have to have a priest there? Do you have to have an ordained minister? I know you said you were one. Do you just do it by yourself with your husband? I mean,
Well, when I do a cleansing, I usually do it myself. I bring my husband with me sometimes, but like I mentioned to you before, he's a high empath and a clairvoyant, and he can't walk into a cemetery without collapsing.
all right.
So it's kind of hard for him to do. But if he prepares himself beforehand, there's rituals I do over him to make sure that he's safe and he's protected before we go into anything like that. But if somebody says that they need help, if they need somebody to come to their house and check things out, I'll gladly do it. I'll just bring my kit with me, and it's a big kit.
What's all
um,
included in it?
everything possible. Palo Santo wood, all different types of sages. I got mugwort, I got mandrake root, every type of herb possible. I have tinctures that I've made myself. I have all the oracle decks and things like that. Now, I just did a house cleansing a couple weeks ago with friends of ours that live about an hour away from here,
Yeah.
and the guy that there's 4 people living in the house, and one of the guys that lives there, he actually had a black entity attached to him ever since he was a child, and he said it would come out from under his bed and grab him at night and try to pull him underneath the bed. And I went there, and it took me an hour and a half, and I got it out of the house. I had to chase it around. It actually, because it's a really big house, I had to go up to the attic. I had to go in to like the cubby areas on the sides of the attic upstairs. I had to go down to the basement, and I had to chase it out. And that thing was huge. And what I do after I cleanse a house, or when I take something out that isn't supposed to be there in some form. Now I work with the Solomon keys in the 72 gin. So I'm very respectable when it comes down to me actually cleansing a house in some form. Um, if it's to the point where it's affecting the people that live in the house and they can't focus and they can't do anything but feeling like something's watching them or they're
Right.
actually getting physically attacked, I definitely will make sure that thing isn't there. Now, when I'm done doing that and I actually get whatever it is out of the house, I place guardians around all four corners and I'm able to protect them so that it doesn't come back. Because if you do not protect yourself after you get rid of something, it not only will come back, it will also bring friends with it, and you won't be able to get them out without a lot of help. And it usually drains me down. They take a lot of energy.
What do you consider like guardians? Like you said, you leave stuff behind.
Angels or guardian angels, I work with them, and I also work with the higher 72. Which are the jinns, from the Goetia. I work with them and I actually place them in that house or on the outside of the house on the property. I make sure they're completely contained and protected, and there's a wall of archangels around them before I leave. Because if I don't do anything like that, then they actually, people, when they have things like that in their house, they actually become weaker than they usually are, and they're able to let things back in because they're not thinking clearly, because it actually affects their mind.
All right. Hey, I want to put this on the thing so everybody can see it. Here we go. When they rewatch this, that's a pretty cool story, Christina. All right. No, I mean, now, do you think you're more aligned with this line of work type of thing? From your childhood experience, from being born almost dead, that stuff, being resurrected, or?
Oh, what was that? Do you think I was, do I think I was resurrected?
Yes.
Oh, I believe in reincarnation. So I think that the reason why it was such a hard thing for me when I was born into this life, I think the last life was more of a struggle, and it was hard for me to get out of. I'm pretty much everything. She says, do you consider yourself a demonologist or a witch? I'm pretty much everything. I'm a ceremonial magician that was raised in a Pentecostal church, and I was taught how to do exorcisms in the demonology and things like that ever since I was 5 years old.
Now, how many types of sage is there?
Well, there's white sage. So there's 3 different types of white sage that I use. 2 types of blue sage, black sage, which is also mugwort, and then you got the Palo Santo wood. And sometimes people put different herbs into the sage, into the actual smudge sticks, like lavender, rose petals and things like that. But there's, from what I've seen, in my experience, there's almost 10 different types of sage that can be used.
Oh, wow. That's
cool. That is cool.
I know that because when I get done doing an investigation, say if it's a client's investigation or something like that, obviously when I'm interviewing them, I'm going to find out what type of religion they are to guide them in the right direction. If they want to get their house smudged, saged, if they want to have their house blessed or something like that, line them up with whatever they believe in, So I didn't know that when I smudge a house, I only use one type. I just go down to the craft store. I mean, that's what I do, but
yeah, whatever works for you.
Now, what do you think demons more attached to? Do you think they attach more to objects or people?
I think about equally. Anything can become possessed. Anything become oppressed. Anything can be used as a puppet. As something that can get into your life. Now, like I said, when I was starting out in this field, I realized that I'm more of a. I'm reading a comment here. Oh, you're welcome. I work with demons now, they're actually part of the 72 Goetia. They're more prince and kings and things like that of hell, but the lesser demons are the ones that kind of possess people and possess objects. Like I said, equally. Say something might be on this. I get objects from haunted places. I have my own little museum thing going on back here, but I think that objects are easier to transfer than people are to transfer. Say you send something to somebody that has something attached to it. it's easier than a person actually going there. See, I was to send something through the mail to Alaska and it had something attached to it. It would get there quicker than a person would. So I think any object can be possessed. Any object can have something attached to it. It just depends on what it is and where it's going and how strong the entity is that is attached to it as to what it can actually do to you. My view on levitation, I think it's possible because of me being a ceremony magician. You know, I've been doing things like that for a long time. I don't levitate yet, but I do know some people that actually can. I believe that it is real. I believe that it does have a lot to do with the belief systems that the person has. Say Chris Angel, he's also a ceremonial magician, so he's able to do things like that. He's been learning a lot longer than I have. So I think that he's able to actually do it. I've seen him do stuff like that on the street because I'm actually from Vegas and I used to live and work there and actually going to be moving back there at the end of October, hopefully the beginning of November. So I'm excited about that. And I'm probably going to meet up with him and talk to him. So I did talk to him once before. I used to work for shows at the Luxor. And I seriously think that he can levitate.
That's cool.
Badass. I can levitate.
Well,
I mean, I can never do anything like that. I know that.
I can roll because I'm so fat, but I don't think I can.
Roll, levitate.
I can roll. Is that cool?
Now you say you can see spirits or anything like that attached to anything. Can you see anything attached to Brandon or myself?
Give me a second. I'm looking here.
I mean, I can put it on a bigger screen. There you go.
Oh.
Give me a second. I have to touch the screen, okay?
Okay.
Jay, you have a guardian. Brandon, you have 2 guardians, and one of them is someone that passed away recently. I don't see anything negative.
That's cool.
That is.
Yeah.
See if I can get this back to. Oh no, we don't need this. There we go. I don't need to be the center of the stage all the time. Making it rain.
I don't have no ones, but I mean, I could throw. I don't know what I could throw.
I'm gonna quarters. I'm gonna make this bitch hail.
Oh yeah.
All right, so what you call it? What is? Tell us the most messed up experience if you've had when it comes to doing demonology stuff.
It's a good question. Let me see. Most messed up experience I've had. Being pushed down the steps. When I was 15, it was actually the night before. My birthday is March 10th, and it was the night it was right before midnight on March 9th, and I was walking up the steps of my aunt's house because we had family in town because my birthday was the next day, and every time we'd had family in town, then it was either a family reunion or somebody's birthday because we were always so tight. We were always best friends growing up with my cousins, and I was walking up the steps. Everybody was sleeping. And I was going up because I had gone down to the kitchen to get a drink of water, and I was walking back upstairs to where I was sleeping. And before I got to the top of the steps, I felt something hot, because the steps were cold, all the way up from the bottom to the top to about the middle part. It was freezing cold. And when I got to maybe the second step down from the top, I got pushed down the stairs.
Oh, wow.
Because I was walking up the steps, and I got to that point right before you step onto the last step before you get upstairs, and I felt something literally put its hands here on my shoulders and push me down the steps. And I literally went flying down the stairs.
Oh, wow. That's pretty scary, actually.
My mom was sleeping on the couch downstairs, and I was like, Mom, I just got pushed. I was screaming. And everybody woke up, and my mom comes running over to me, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I just got pushed down the steps."
I would have freaked out. I would have screamed like a little girl running down the street. I swear to God, trust and believe. You're gonna see my ass fly, but you know, that type of thing, you know.
Well,
That's what led to it.
What's that?
Kind of freaked out in that tunnel, though.
Oh yeah, man.
Well, technically, it had us all running out of there like little schoolgirls.
No, we only stayed there about a half hour, man. I ain't
Really.
lying. I don't mess with evil stuff. I mean, honest God, truth, like you know.
Oh, I found out that it wasn't a demon or anything like that. It was a guy that had actually died. He overdosed upstairs, and he didn't want me to come around because that house went through family members. You know how there's always one house where all the family members have lived at one point.
Right on.
It was a moment between when my Uncle Jake had owned it and when he had given it to my aunt to live in, and the person had died between those 2 points. And he didn't like the fact that I was there because he probably felt that I was somebody that would help them. You know, he didn't want help. He was kind of reluctant to do it. He thought he was still alive, and he thought I was coming into his territory, so he pushed me down the steps.
Right on. You see that question?
Yeah, I have. I've channeled before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do a lot of that stuff.
Was it like a outer body experience type of thing? Like, could you see yourself doing it, or were you there and like present with it?
You can kind of feel like if somebody goes into you, like a spirit of some kind, or I've invoked things into me before. I've done a whole bunch of different stuff like that, but I think that it feels like a static almost, like like electricity. If you can actually feel and you're aware, you're completely aware, but they tell you what to say. Like it's just like when you're doing like a seance, and you have this the sensory deprivation. Where you have your like the headphones and the noise canceling headphones, and your eyes covered, and you can actually like feel exactly what they want you to say. It's like that, but it's not really. It's not scary. Sometimes it feels hot, depending on what type of entity it is. The only ones that I've done like that were actually spirits and things like that. I've never had a demon go through me before, but I have been affected by them, and sometimes they're very, very strong and overpowering.
Right. Now, have you ever done any automatic writing like Christina has?
Or you close your eyes and you ask them to use you to write. It's the same as using the EVP device, Ouija boards, things like that, automatic writing. There's many ways for them to communicate. There's countless ways.
That's pretty wild. I'd like to do an experiment with that.
I would love to see that.
I would honestly,
like,
because what I think is the best evidence, honest to God truth, like my personal opinion and my experience for paranormal investigations wise is the best type of tool you can actually have is yourself.
Yeah,
you're true. If you're an empath or you're clairvoyant type of, you're going to be the best tool that you can actually have.
Right.
Besides that, the EVPs are top to notch. You cannot disprove EVPs. If your room is quiet and there's voices coming out of it and nobody's around, you can't debunk it,
Yeah, exactly.
You can debunk everything else. Now, what is your thought process on the Necrophonics app? Do you think it actually summons demons to it, or the SB7 or that type of stuff?
It depends. The only way they can really see how real those apps are is if you put everything on airplane mode. Because sometimes they're connected to Wi-Fi and it's actually being connected to a database of words through that. So if you put it on, if you put any app that you have on airplane mode, you can see how real and valid it can be. But I think that anything can be summoned. Like if you read something out loud or something is spoken out loud, even songs are spells. And it just depends on which way you say it. I'm not just talking about backmasking. I'm talking about forward playing, just regular playing a song. Right. If you sing along with it, you're actually doing that summoning. Did you ever see the movie Stay Alive, where they had to say that the actual spell in order to bring Bathory back to life?
Right.
Um,
I've actually
I
watched
think same thing.
documentaries on that. I
Mhm.
love my documentaries about how in
Mhm.
the 60s and 70s when they were starting to do like for records and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and how you're putting like subliminal messages in there, and how other companies were doing that so they
Mhm.
could influence people how to buy stuff and
Yeah,
like
it's
think
true.
a certain way. I mean, it was pretty wild to actually
I love
do it.
backmasking. I actually have a record player right here in front of me, and I actually do some of it sometimes, and I record it, and it's crazy what you can get off of it. Even records that are out now. I mean, I just got Marilyn Manson's new album.
Oh
Um,
wow!
it's the black translucent vinyl, and it's freaking sweet. It's limited edition. I love Marilyn Manson.
I've been to his concert like way back when, back in '96 in Montreal.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to the one where he fell off the stage. It was here in Pittsburgh on September 29th, 2017. He
oh
fell off the stage and broke his ankle. And he got right back up on stage and was dancing right after. It didn't even matter. It
wow.
didn't affect him at all.
Going to like a trance on stage type of thing. But
Yeah, he's
anyways,
freaking cool. I love him.
oh yeah, he is definitely out there. I mean, I remember when there had the conspiracy theories that he was the kid from Wonder Years.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
1 second. No, can you tell us? Have you ever had a demon actually do some good?
Yeah. Like I said, I work with them now on the Solomon Keys. I've been practicing that for about 9 years now. Um, the higher ones, the lesser ones are the ones that I kind of like to think of it as like a rogue wolf that had the alphas and the betas were taken out, and so it's going by itself and it doesn't know what it's doing, and it's kind of stuck, and all it knows is that it wants to do something, and injure things, and possess things and things like that. But the ones that are the higher demons are the ones that you can actually make into guardians, and they actually can protect things, and they could be when you activate the gates, there's different things that you can do where you can actually place them at certain places, and they can be guardians just like angels.
Can you cross a demon over to like the light side? Could you like cross a demon over to heaven type of thing?
I
Or
haven't I
like
haven't heard of that before, but I have seen where people can actually redeem them. They can become redeemed.
all right, because I mean, if they're just lost souls or whatnot, I mean, I think they should be given the second chance to go to heaven.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
But anyways, now have you seen anything from the Middle East as their
Mhm.
rituals and stuff like that? And what is your thought process on that?
I accepted it, and I 100% respect any religion. I haven't personally seen anything like that in person, but I've seen videos about it and things like that, and I respect it, and I think that they're doing what they want and how they want to do it, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Right on, right on. That's pretty wild rituals and stuff like that. Like down in Louisiana and stuff like that, that has some pretty wild people too.
Yeah, I love Louisiana. I'm actually my family's from Shreveport.
Oh, nice. It's a lot of fun down there.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, you said that you did your first live exorcism when you were 15 years old. And how is that? Do you think that has affected your adult life?
Taught me a lot.
Like,
It helped me understand things a lot easier than a lot of people understand them, because sometimes they're kind of shielded from those kind of things. But when you're brought up in a house that is 100% full force into this field, then you have more experience. The longer experience you have, the more you understand, more that you're able to apply it to your own life. So I'm grateful for that.
right on. That's cool. Now, do you have children of your own right now, or
No, I don't have any kids. I do have a cat though that is my child.
yeah, fur babies are the best.
Yes, they are. Well, vet bills can get expensive.
No, have you ever done like took an apprentice type of thing? That's what I was asking if you had a child or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah, I've helped a lot of people. I've given them advice. I myself don't have an apprentice because I'm actually an apprentice of someone right now myself.
Okay.
So I'm learning as much as I can because my husband and I, we have decided that we're going to adopt a child in a few years. And
Right on.
I think that if I get everything ready now, that's why I work on all my books and I write down everything and take notes on things, and I'm trying to put everything into the books that I know and that I understand, so we can eventually give them to our child so they have it for their life.
That's awesome. Honestly, that's a really cool story. What do you think is the best part about being a demonologist? Like, do you have any rewards from it? Do you have any negative drawbacks from it? You know?
The best part of being a demonologist is learning along with other people and meeting people, expanding my network, and um, just being there and being able to help people. I think that's a positive.
That's cool.
I'm sure.
Brandon, do you have any questions?
What is your most terrifying experience that you've got?
It's
Besides being
terrifying.
pushed down the steps.
A terrifying experience, I think, would be seeing a shapeshifter out in Fresno, California.
Hmm.
Um, it's highly, I don't want to say religious, but it's close to Mexico, and they do a lot of crazy rituals out there.
Mhm.
Um, Shapeshifters are real. I knew that 100% for a fact. I've seen a lot of stuff like that, like, especially with this cave that's over here by my house. I actually was able to record a scream of something. It wasn't a fox, it wasn't a bird, it wasn't anything like that. It had to be something. And my husband and I have gone down into the ravine over here. It's about 2 miles. It's a 2 mile stretch of woods and caves and things like that. And we went down there by ourselves one time, and the cave entrance was completely open. But we went back down there again a week later with a couple of our friends, and I am not kidding at all. Like, there was two big giant boulders blocking the entrance of this cave, and these boulders were so big that it would have taken at least 10 guys to lift it up and move it. And they were blocking the entrance, and there's no way anybody could have got down there to put them in there. And there was actually hoof print marks around the cave entrance, so that was kind of terrifying for me.
Mhm. I bet you that was. No, not today, Satan. Not today.
Did you see the video that I sent you of the scream? What'd you
Yeah,
think of that?
I don't know it's kind of hard to make it out. You can obviously hear the clear screaming and everything like that, and a lot of bird noise and everything like that.
Hmm.
But you don't know if it's like an animal because it sounds like a freaking jungle back there.
It
And
does.
then you hear like that loud, so it's pretty wild.
Hmm.
And
I don't know what it is, but there were hoof prints near the entrance of that cave.
that's wild.
That is wild.
Now, what type of investigations have you gone on?
I've gone to a lot of places. I went to Wolf Manor out in Clovis, California, right after they tore it down, and I actually have a brick from that place I was able to dig out of the ground when we were there. And there's a lot attached to it. I've done EVPs. I've had I forget what they're called, but when they scan the radio stations.
Yeah, it's an SB7.
Yeah, that one. What I've put one next to it, and people were actually saying they took my baby. I need help, and things like that, like from the brick from the building, because thousands of people died in that place.
Right, that's pretty sad.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen a demonic entity attached to a child or anything like that? And how have you helped it?
Attached to a child.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen a lot of different things. Some people, you can't really help a child too much if their parents don't believe that it's real. I've experienced that myself with people in my family and people that know my family. Sometimes they don't believe in what I do, and so they actually think that the kid's just playing. That there's nothing wrong with it. That it's a mental thing, because people always, all the time, they kind of pass, being possessed by something as a mental issue.
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard to deal with kids when it comes to that kind of thing, because you want to help them. Because I don't have any kids of my own, but I love kids, and I wish there was some way that I could help everybody that I see, that needs it. But if their parents say that I can't do anything, then I can't. It's hard.
Yeah, it sucks. Have you what you call it? Now, has any of your other family members been blessed with this gift, or is it something like, it's
Well,
more
my
talk
um,
behind closed doors type of thing?
well, my family we actually descendants of Salem. Um, my 11 times great grandmother was actually one of the women that was hung. And it's been passed down generations. And it's something that people say is at the root, the root of my family tree. And so
Right.
we all kind of have these gifts, and we're able to do things like this.
Right.
The discernment of the spirit, speaking in tongues, we're able to see. My mom can see spirits. My aunt can hear them. We all kind of work together. I haven't worked with them for about 20 years, kind of done my own thing for this long, but um, we're all kind of given these gifts, as you say.
Yeah.
We all have our own, we all evolve with our own blessings, and things. And my husband, he's kind of more into the empath kind of stuff, but he's scared. He calls it a curse. And it's hard for me to tell him, it's not a curse, it's a gift. You've been given something that you're able to do these kind of things and help as many people as possible. And
Right.
he looks at it as a curse, no matter how much I tell him it's not. Just to get used to it, and kind of, if you're stuck and you're scared, ask for help. You know what I mean?
Right.
But my mom has it. My sister does, but she has a block. She was able to put up a mental block in her head, so she can't hear anything anymore, because she used to be able to hear spirits. But
Right.
it's kind of it's a family thing. So yeah, it does. It's been passed down. My great aunts could actually channel. Uh, we all kind of have something, but some of us have more than the others. It just depends on how much we accept it, as to how much you're able to grow with it.
All right. All right. Here's another question for you: Is, in your personal opinion, being a demonologist, are prayers more effective out loud or saying them in your head? Do you think?
Out loud.
You think
Out
so?
loud, definitely out loud, because you can visualize them in your head and you can project them. That's something that I do in ceremonial magic, is I'm able to visualize and project things when I do rituals. But when you're doing an exorcism, you have to say it out loud, or if you're praying for someone, you have to say it out loud, because that person can not only hear it, but the entity can also hear it, and anything else that's around it. Your words are very, very powerful. That's why they call words spelling, like when you're making words and sentences, because you're actually projecting a spell onto everything that's around you, and all the people that are around you, and all the entities that you can't see. They have to hear it for it to actually manifest.
All right. That makes sense. I mean, honestly.
It does.
Ben, do you have any more questions? I'm
What do I know of?
All right. So, you said that. Do you now? How do I want to say this? Now, do you document any of your cases, or do
Yes,
you
I
have
do.
like a file or anything like that? Now, how do
Yeah.
you document them?
I actually use an old the micro cassette recorder.
Right.
The old ones that they use in college when you're recording a class. No, that's what the one actually I have is from college. It's about 15 years old now. It's my first one that I ever had when I was in school, and I take it with me, and I actually write what case it was, and I write a definition, explanation, dated, and I keep notebooks for everything. So I do document every little thing that I've done.
Now, have you captured any demonic voices or anything like that on it?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I want to hear that sometime. Honestly, like
Hmm.
I'll send you an audio clip of what we got,
Okay,
and you can see what how it compares to what you got. And
that sounds good. I look
I
forward
mean,
to
I'm
it.
not a demonologist or nothing like that. Like I said, I don't really mess with evil things. Like when we
Mhm.
do have a go to a client's house or something like that for that type of thing, and we'll find out if there is one there, then we'll guide them in the right direction and be there for support. I'm not going to sit there and I know how to do this and do that.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know? Honestly, like, I hope to God tomorrow when we go to do that client case, there's not no demon there or nothing like that.
Oh,
Because
if you need help, I'm here.
It's in the backwoods in Virginia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Virginia.
The Jersey Devils out there, be careful.
What's your feelings on the Mothman?
He's real. Actually, I've gone to McConnell's Mill a few times,
Over in Mount Pleasant, West Virginia.
and I've seen things at night. Um, cryptids come out more at night than they do during the day. I'm all for cryptids too.
Nice. Now, what has been your most, I don't want to say most, how do I want to word this without sounding like a dumbass? All right, what's been your one experience that has changed your life on this type of subject, on the demonology?
Changed my life.
Yeah, on how you view things.
I would have to say it's not more of a it's more like a moment that kind of woke me up instead of it wasn't really demonology. It was more like something that kind of opened my eyes. It was when I was how old was I? I think I was 26. I was 26 and I went into a cemetery because I usually do cemetery walks at night and
All
I
right.
take my EVP with me and everything and I take photos and I actually have gotten a lot of ghost photography when I've done that. When people go into cemeteries and they go there just to kind of get responses and things like that, it's not always a good thing to do if you're not prepared.
In
I,
my personal opinion on cemeteries, I don't think they're that haunted. There's certain entities attached to cemeteries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that spirits and stuff like that are more attached to the place that they have passed.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
why would they just hang out at a cemetery? You know, that's my personal opinion. And I've only done one cemetery investigation. I did one in Evanston, Virginia, just because there was of a slave owner that was buried straight up and down to keep an eye on his slaves from the grave.
Mhm.
I thought it would be pretty evil to, you know, pretty much
That's crazy.
crazy world we lived in back, you know.
Oh yeah,
Thank
definitely.
God the world's not like that anymore. You know, everything's more open and peaceful.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But that time that I did that when I was 26, I went into a cemetery and I was actually able to contact my dad. And it wasn't where he was buried, but it was one that was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was walking through it and I had the EVP going and I actually heard his voice come over the radio. So
Nice.
it woke me up and it made me realize that I'm not by myself. And he actually said proud of you, and like that
Oh,
really woke me up and made me realize that what I was doing was what I was supposed to do.
that's awesome. Honestly, I'm glad for that.
It
You
is.
know? And I would want my parents to say they're proud of me too if they ever passed or anything like that. You know, before
Yeah.
we'd be happy. Not like you're a dumbass. Fuck. All those years. Oh. No, but now, have you one experience like gone to one place that you can say is absolutely the most haunted place you've been to with negative energy?
Most haunted place I've been to, negative energy. I would have to say Wolf Manor out in Clovis, California. A lot of people died there against their will.
Yeah.
And when people die in places like that, it's a shocking. Then they end up stuck, and it's hard when they don't want to go to the light and they don't want help to get out of there. That was the most negative I've ever been in because I could feel it. It was like a thick wall that you could cut through with a knife. You know, you can feel the air. You can actually be affected by something. Like it was to the point where I couldn't even walk when I was walking up to the place. It was just the land because they had already tore it down. And I was able to go into the gate and kind of stand where the main room was in the front of the house. And I could feel all the people like coming at me. But when I lived out in before I moved out here, I lived near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was in a house that used to be a mental ward, and it was an apartment complex. They had changed it. It was a Victorian house, and it had a big wraparound porch on it previously. That was already taken off, but the place was actually starting to get really run down, and I was planning to buy it and renovate it, and rent it back out. And we were living in where the management quarters were. And when you walked up the steps and into the front door, they still had the glass panels, around the steps that go upstairs where the patients were staying.
Oh, wow.
And the glass was this thick, like around the steps. And it had so they had taken a door, but it still had the chicken wire fence in it. And there was a entity upstairs in the tower that caused everybody up on the second floor to kind of go crazy. And it was weird because that's where they kept the mental patients, was upstairs. And there was this guy living there that I used to go to school with, and I hadn't seen him in about 20 years. And this one day he ran out of his apartment and threw a bike down the steps as hard as he could. And he was upstairs screaming and everything. And it made me realize that even though that place wasn't a mental institution then, like, the entities and the people that died there probably were affecting everyone in that building. And I moved out of there.
I'm done with this place.
Yeah, that's enough. When you see people throwing bicycles down the steps towards your door and people screaming and your manager carrying around a loaded crossbow, you kind of leave.
Not today.
No, that's good. They can keep it. I'm out.
All right. So at this time, I'm going to open up the questions to the chat room if they have any questions for you.
Okay.
I'm pretty much done with mine. So let's see what I got to ask.
Well, I do have one. I got one. Since you're related to the Salem witches, have you ever been there and actually done any evidences like paranormal activity there? Just anything about your family on campus?
Not as of yet, but I do plan to go up there for Halloween. We're actually going to be going up on the 28th of this month, and then we're going to be staying until the 1st of November before we move back to Vegas. So that's our plan, and if I get anything, I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
My son's bloodline comes from there too. On his mom's side, not mine.
Really?
Yeah, we looked up ancestries.com. He did one test too.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty neat.
That is very cool.
Do you know the first witch trials in the United States were actually not in Salem? They're actually in Jamestown, Virginia.
Yep. I know that too.
But we'll see what the chat has to ask and see what goes from there. Give him a minute. See if I can't see.
Yeah, I had to get closer too.
Cool.
Awesome.
See what comes up. If they have any questions. Carrie, Christine, Stacy, David, anybody.
Feel free to ask any questions you want, y'all.
Yep.
I'll answer any questions as long as it's related to the field.
Yeah.
There you go. But you don't have to ask if I'm sexy. I already know it. So
No sexual related questions. Wow. I thought that'd be actually somebody would actually. I know. I thought at least one person would ask a question.
Let's see.
I guess not. All right.
Probably chatted up.
What's that? Yeah.
Chatted them all up.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Do you have anything that you want to promote?
Legion M, my company.
All right. How do you spell that?
It's Legion M, like Legion, Legion.
Are you on your computer, or are you on your tablet, or on the phone?
I'm on my computer right now.
All right, go ahead and type it into the chat, and I'll put it on the screen.
Type it, yeah. Put it in the private chat, and he can copy and paste it into the chat.
And anything else you want to promote? I'll put your user handle on here.
Yeah, put the channel on there and things like that. Okay, Christina says she's got a question. You go ahead, Christina.
Go ahead and shoot.
Oh. the shit?
All right. Yes, Christina, go ahead. Ask your question.
Believe it.
I'm typing it out.
It's gonna feel weird. Like,
There we go. Christina said she has a question for you. Just a second.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a delay or not. Okay.
It doesn't want to scratch. It hurts.
Ow.
And this is Vegas Vamp's website. I'm putting that on right now. Go ahead and check it out. Waiting for Christina's question. I don't know if she's still there. Maybe she lost connection or something. I don't know.
Oh, precious.
But thanks for everybody that joined. Oh, here we go. All right. Did you see right here?
There you go.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Cool. In my house, but there. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can sense certain people that I'm attached to. If they're close to me, or if they're, projecting an energy, negative or positive energy out to me, I can feel it. I have a strong connection to certain people that I haven't even met in person. I'm connected to people that I've only talked to once in my life. It just depends on how strong they are. When it comes to what I do, ceremonial magic, I'm actually attached to people all over the world that I have done rituals with, even if it's just something over YouTube.
That's cool. That's awesome. But thanks everybody for coming tonight. Much love. Next week we'll be doing UFO talk with All Things Exist. Fingers crossed. Should be scheduled.
And
Heidi's on. Always a good show when Heidi's on. Everybody knows that. It'll be a good time. And make sure you also check us out. You know me, Salt the Earth 7, Brandon at KPT Brandon, and at Vegas Vamp. Thank you guys for all coming tonight. Have a good night. Peace.
Have a good night, guys.
Here we go. Peace.